Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Gospelology podcast, where we stem from Him. Here on the Gospelology show, we bridge the miraculous powers of Jesus Christ with the marvelous world of science. And I am so excited tonight that we are here with an amazing guest and that you are here with us as well. So, tonight, I don't waste any time when it comes to the Gospelology podcast. When we have a special guest, I like to get right to it. And tonight, I have with me no other than Chef Dedra Blount. And I am so excited that she's here to join us tonight to share a little bit about how the cooking world mixes with the science world. And so I'm excited to have you here tonight, Miss Dedra. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello, everyone. I'm known by Chef D for my students, so it makes it easier. I'm an identical twin. I am the co-founder of Now You Cooking Culinary Studio, located in Chesapeake, Virginia, and we teach students starting at age 3 all the way up to adults, and we want to foster education and empowerment in the kitchen. So that's really what we're all about.
Oh, I'm loving it. I love it. She won me over with the kids. All she had to do was say kids, and that was it for me. So I'm just excited to have Dedra here with us tonight, and just to share a little bit about how the cooking world coincides with the science world. Dedra, I am just elated and just so proud of everything that your organization and your studio does with children. And I wanted to bring you on just to share some of the amazing things that you guys are doing and how you're actually incorporating science and things that you do. And so I can't wait to share. So you know what I do, Dedra, I get right to it. So I have a few questions here for you tonight. And so I'm going to start out with question number 1. I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to ask you, was becoming a chef always on your radar? And what made you choose cooking, or did cooking choose you?
It's always been on my radar. I knew from the age of 4 that I wanted to be a chef. And my grandmother, my father's mother, is my culinary inspiration. So going to her house on Sunday afternoons and being at her house on Saturday nights, getting ready for Sunday, watching her make bread and cook all the meals, I wanted to do whatever she did. So that's where it all started for me, was just watching her and then watching other people get so excited about what she was doing for them. So I knew I had 2 career goals, and I went to my dad and I said, okay, these are my career goals. I think I was 12, and I was like, I want to be a clown in the circus. And I was serious. And he was like, you're not going to be a clown. And I had gotten this thing from Ringling Brothers, and I was like, I really want to be a clown. He was like, you're not going to do that. But then when I went and told him I wanted to be a chef, he didn't want me to do that either. And he was like, no, if you want to learn to cook, you can go to your granny's house. And I said, well, I want to do that too, but I want to make this my career. So I need you to send me to school to do this. So I've always known that I wanted to do something that would provide food and nourishment for others, and to teach them how to nourish themselves as well.
Wow, that's an amazing story. I never knew that Dedra wanted to be a clown.
Most people don't know that.
That is, but you know what you do? You make people smile and you make people happy with your food. Right. So in all, God knew that He had His hand on you to make people happy, and you make them smile when they're tasting your food. I know when you cook a roll, a couple of Thanksgiving, y'all, I'm gonna tell my business. A couple of Thanksgiving, I didn't cook. Okay, I actually ordered the food from Now You're Cooking Culinary Studio, and I acted like I cooked it. If Dedra didn't bring her own pots and pans to my house, I would have gotten over. But the happiness of my family when they tasted those homemade rolls and those greens was just amazing. And so whatever your grandmother did, she imparted in you the anointing of cooking. And so we thank God for that. And you said something so powerful, how sometimes when we have dreams, and what I loved that you really talked about was that how your grandmother was the one who inspired you. And Dedra, how important is it for our parents to really inspire the things that our young people are doing today?
Well, it's very important, because no matter how much we want them to read or how many activities we take them to, the majority of their knowledge comes from what surrounds them. So little things that they pick up, little gestures, little sayings and phrases that they may hear, they get those from their environment. So just being around food and watching my grandmother do certain things and watching the love that she put into it and the people around her, that made me, in the back of my mind at the time, I couldn't cook, but I wanted to figure out how to make people feel that way. And I feel like that, even though we can put our kids into activities, we can spend money on them going to different things, but what their environment is what really shapes them and kind of makes them who they become in the early phases.
That's a powerful word. That's a powerful word right there. That Dedra about to preach, y'all. So I'm gonna move on to question number 2. Okay, but that is so true. It is so true. Another thing I wanted to ask, I wanted you to tell us what you do in your current position, as the founder of Now You're Cooking and a professor. And then if you're talking to a young person wanting to be in your field of work, what courses or what steps should they take to become the chef that you are?
Well, currently in the business here at the studio, my sister and I opened the studio together. It was my crazy idea, and she just kind of went with it. Basically, I teach all of the adult educational classes as well as middle school and high school, and then Deborah teaches the elementary and preschool groups. But I, with her guidance, write all the curriculums to make sure that we're kind of doing the things that we need to, and kind of making sure that the information that we're giving is relevant information. So basically, all the cooking classes, all the purchases from groceries and everything, I take care of all those things. She takes care of all the phone calls and all the back end things on my behalf. But I would say for any young person that is getting into, would like to get into teaching, don't do it for the money. The money will come. The money will come. But this is not a business. Education in general is not a business that you're going to go into to get rich right away, because of the fact that when you teach children, you have to teach with your heart. And if you're teaching for dollars, it's not going to add up. But I would say, get involved. Volunteering. Volunteering is a perfect way to see, is this something that I really want to do? Because you can have ideas and concepts of things you want to try, but until you go and spend a little bit of time in those facilities, you're not going to know what it's really all about. So volunteering is a great way to learn things before you go all in. And I would say nowadays, culinary school may not be the answer for everyone. So it's not a situation where, my parents can't afford to send me to culinary school because it's very expensive. But if you start volunteering, then you get a small job working in those types of operations. You can learn just as much as someone, depending on, how much drive you have for whatever it is you want to learn. And education is something that you can't watch. You're not going to learn to teach unless you're in the trenches to be ready for the different experiences here and there. You can't learn that in a book or watching it online. You've got to be in the trenches to learn it. So I would say for the best way and the most cost-effective way to stick your toe in the water is to volunteer. And that's the best way to figure out, okay, this is something I really want to do, yes or no.
Oh my gosh, I love it. You said something so powerful, that if you want to get into the field of teaching, don't do it for money.
No.
And one of those things is, I can contest to that. I have been, in Christian education and education field, and I don't do it for money. But one of the things that we understand, Dedra, is that you can't teach passion. And that's exactly what you were talking about. If you're not passionate about this thing, save the children. Don't do it, because it's not something that you're actually doing for the money, but you're doing it because you're passionate about it. And I love that. I love that.
Please save the children.
Save the children, don't do it. And I love how you and your sister are partners in this. You guys, I say, from the womb to the tomb, boy, y'all I mean, it's just that the way you guys work together all the time, and you balance each other out. And who better to trust than that one who has been with you from the beginning? to work there. Deborah is just amazing at what
That's right.
she does as well. And I know you guys are the greatest partners ever, bringing those things together and bringing the two ideas and the two personalities. And they're totally different, y'all. They are identical twins, but they are totally
Yes,
different. Okay. And so I know it brings a balance to that. And so I wanted our audience to see a little bit about what Dedra and Deborah do at Now You're Cooking. So we have a couple of videos that we're going to show you tonight of some of the classes that they teach. And then we're going to talk about these particular classes and and I want you as the audience, join us tonight. Put in that chat what you see as science. So we're going to look at a couple of videos and I want you to tell us in our chat, what do you see as science? What do you see going on that can actually be in the STEM field? So I want you guys to join us in the chat and see that. Let's take a look at what they're doing at Now You're Cooking.
I'm Harry Potter.
Listen. 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 Listen.
Woo! I was like, I was in here jamming. And oh my goodness, all of those things. Now I need y'all to comment in the chat. I couldn't even begin to tell y'all how much science I seen. First of all, Harry Potter. Harry Potter, y'all. Harry Potter in itself is a whole science lesson, okay? But all of the things that Dedra and Deborah have put together at that camp, did you guys see all of those things that represented science? I mean, I seen the kids mixing, I seen them cutting shapes, I seen all kind of stuff going on. I seen everything going on from mathematics to chemistry to physics. I seen it all. I seen Deborah, I seen it all. Okay. I mean, Dedra, look, say I'm calling you your sister.
It's okay.
But I seen it all. I seen it all there. And that brings us to our point number 3, our talking point number 3. How is cooking like science? And how do you use chemistry in your cooking? Now, the video answered it, but I just want you to talk about it a little bit and the fun the kids were having with this. Oh, my goodness. Talk to us, Dedra. Talk to us. How is cooking like science? And how do you use chemistry in your cooking?
Well, cooking is science. Cooking is chemistry. Baking is science. From a baking standpoint, all the recipes are formulas and they have to be accurate. So when we teach the students, sometimes we have small chemistry lessons with them, but I don't try to really dwell on that too much because then they'll start to think they're in school again and get bored. So we try to do it from a fun approach and just talk about like chemical reactions and showing them Okay, all right, this group, you use this product. What's the difference between baking powder and baking soda? How does this product react? What happens if we put something in a metal container? Will it react the same way in glass? Will it react the same way in plastic? And we talk about acids and base levels and things like that, because I want them to know that from the very beginning, science starts from the ground, and it goes all the way from the ground to the kitchen, then into our bodies, because our bodies have chemical reactions as well. So, cooking, the great thing about it is that every part of school or your education that we're teaching the kids in school is in cooking, from reading, learning how to read a recipe properly, from knowing how many pieces that you need, how many pieces you have, what happens, how the product reacts, even from something as basic as putting toast in a toaster is science. All of those things go together. What happens when you don't put enough sugar in a recipe? What happens when you put too much butter in a recipe? How these things react and how they behave together. Like in the video, when we were doing like this, we were talking to them about friction. And what happens when you use a whisk up against cream and it turns into whipped cream and then it turns into butter. So just being able to talk to the kids about those things for them to understand is just what really, the ultimate reward is for them eating their science project. So basically what we're doing is edible science projects.
Yes. I love this. I'm like freaking out, y'all. This is like a Promac dream. Okay, I think I'm dreaming talking to this woman, y'all. Oh my goodness. I mean, it was so much. One of the things, Dedra, that you had asked one of your classes, and I want you to help me because I don't know the difference. Look,
Okay.
I was trying to ask Promac, but she don't know neither. Okay. But you had mentioned to your young people, you asked them this question: what is the difference between jelly, jam, and the preserves? I said, I don't know, but I got a feeling it has something to do with the moisture, the liquid, or the condensity. Help us out here on the Gospelology podcast. Okay, I want to know the difference between jelly, jam, and preserve. Help me out, please.
So jelly is all liquid, all juice. There's no pulp or no type of fruit flesh or anything in jelly. It's all liquid. That's why it's mostly clear and it's smooth. A jam will have a greater consistency of flesh, and so will a preserve. But a preserve can be anything from apples to pears to peaches. It usually has more texture to it. Jam is usually it has some juice, and then of course meat, or not meat, but flesh from the fruit, and it's cooked down a little bit more. So the jelly is just liquid. Because one thing about cooking, all parts of it will be used. There is no waste. Okay. So when they take the fruit off the vine, every part of that will be used. If it's pretty, it will go to the store in its whole phase as, say, grapes. If it's kind of bruised, it may be pressed into juice. If it's really ugly, they may take it, cook it down, and turn it into a jam or some type of a sauce. And then they take some grapes, turn them into wine. So every part has a place. Doesn't matter how pretty it is. Doesn't matter how ugly it is. It all can be used for something.
Woo! It sounds like how our relationship with God. We can be bruised, we can be messed up, but He uses us. Every part of us, can be used by Him, and that's so powerful. You see how Gospelology comes. You see how I'm bringing the Gospelology in with the science. That's something naturally that I do, but that is just so amazing. Well, we have here another video. This was one of my favorites, where when we're actually talking about what you just explained, how each piece is used. And so one of these things, the young people were using, I don't even need a real instrument. I'm not even going to try.
Oh, that was a microplane zester.
Come on, a zester. And then they actually had the apple on something, and that they would turn.
Yeah, taking the core out and taking the peels off.
Come on now. Well, we want to see a little bit about that. And then that video actually goes into something, because they actually finished doing something they would do. And these were big. What I love about your program, Dedra, is that these look like they look like kindergarten, preschoolers.
Yeah. We start at age 3.
At age 3, you guys, and wait till you see these little kids in action and watch the science in the kitchen. Again, in that chat, tell us again what you see in this kitchen as science. Let's take a look at this video.
Put on respect, that's where all your feelings gonna go in a minute. Use your thumbs, yes. Okay, so mix it right.
Come on now. The baby, how old was he, Dedra?
Jackson is 4.
Oh,
He's
come
4.
on.
Yeah.
And Jackson was working the spoon. Did
Yeah.
you put the flour? And at the what I loved is they made a slinky.
Yeah.
So it's actually showing them different motions and actually that's actually engineering. It's like, okay, I got
Right, yeah.
slinky. I mean, I can go on. I have seen so much in your kitchen watching these videos of kids using so many parts of STEM. I just absolutely loved it. And then at the end, they actually came out with their little, they were making pastries.
Yep.
One of the little girls, when I watched, she's sitting there so in detail, like making sure that every inch of her dough was pushed down,
Yeah.
pushed down, shaking together, roll it up. Come on,
Right.
she was amazing. And then I just love how you let them actually explore. They're
Right.
cutting, they're chopped, they're opening up the egg, they're using the knives, but they're in safety. And so it was just great to see that. What other now these classes, like you mentioned, because I was noticing you actually, we talked about it earlier, how your classes fill up so quickly, especially during this time during the pandemic, because you lowered your numbers for the safety of our children. Tell us exactly how you can get involved in these classes. How soon should they sign up? How soon do you put those classes online? I mean, these parents are going crazy because they want their kids involved in this. So please tell us a little bit about what they can do to log on. When is the classes starting and what's going on?
So we have classes every week. If we don't, it's usually coordinating with the school schedule. We might be out for Christmas break when they're out for break and things like that. But we offer the classes in sections. So the youngest group, the kinder chefs, they're age 3 to 6. They come on Saturday mornings at 10. The juniors come on Saturday mornings at 10. They're between 7 and 12. Then middle school group comes on Tuesday night. High school group comes on Thursday night. And then we get the adults in whenever they have time. Usually it's Wednesday night or Sunday Sunday afternoon workshop. But we meet every week between for an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how much talking I do. But the classes, we have 10 slots right now because of our safety regulations. But when you see the classes online, get in the classes right away. But we do offer spring break camp, which is Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. We offer 10 weeks of summer camp, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 as well. They make their own lunches. And then if you can't make it into one of our classes, you can either set up a private class for friends and family or Girl Scout troops or troops from churches, Jack and Jill, any type of organization. So if you can't get in, you could always say, well, can I bring a private group? And then we'll create a class for your private group as well. Because what I love about it is that when the parents come for the class, the parents sit to the side. And for a lot of our parents, that's hard for them to do because they want to be all involved. I'm like, no, this is their time to create.
Right.
Let them hear our voices, not yours. And, because a lot of parents aren't allowing the kids to cook at home because it's hard and it's stressful. Having kids in your kitchen. It's not as much fun as you might think it would be. So when they come with us, y'all can relax. Either you go out and run an errand or two, or come and take a few pictures and things like that. But we tell them no sideline coaching because we want them to spend some time and be creative, because we as adults, it's in our nature. We'll come in and take over their whole recipe.
Girl.
And I'm like, nobody asked for you. Go and sit down. Go sit down.
Yes, and I'm sure the kids really enjoy that because it gives them a sense of independence.
Yes, it does. And it gives them opportunity to try something they've never had. Because when we do taste tests in our classes, and that gives us a chance to have them try something that they've never had, and the risk is low because it didn't cost them anything to try it. Right. So we vote on it. They can't be verbal about it. They can only vote with their thumbs. If it's yes, no, or maybe so. And they have to try it. They have to figure out what it is. If they're allergic to it, of course, we won't make them try anything. But we want them to explore.
Yes.
So that way they can try new things. And they make something that they're excited about. And we try a small amount of it in class. And then we send them home with some to share. Because a part of cooking is sharing with others.
Yes.
So we want them to be proud of it. So that's, some of the things the principles that we use here at the studio.
I love it. People are saying awesome educator. That straight work. Somebody said that straight word. They said this is so exciting. They're saying future chefs love it, and they're saying awesome. Dedra, this is just amazing. People are just in the chat, just chatting it up, just saying how amazing this is, and actually watching these kids do this. I see Promac at the studio one day coming in and doing a little something.
Tell Promac to come on.
I gotta tell Promac to come. I just think it's just so great how you're letting the kids explore and do things on their own and learn by doing. And it's one of the greatest things that kids can do is learn while they do. So many kids actually are that type of learner. They have to do, they're hands-on learners. And this, as what you're doing, is it's encompassing pretty much every part of education, like you said, but it's also related to every child's learning needs. I don't care whether you're a reader. I don't care whether you're one who is a kinetic learner, where you got to jump all around and do stuff. This actually helps any child who has whatever learning patterns whatever learning capabilities they have. They can actually come into these classes and actually be happy doing. And so I'm just excited about what you're doing in our community and the things that you and your sister have put together for our young people. And so we're going to come back because you have a story to tell us about a famous person who came into your studio. And so we're going to hear a little bit about that when we come back here on the Gospelology show, where we stem from him with our guest, Dedra Blount from Now You're Cooking. Let's take a little break as we go into our commercial break, and we'll be back. And while we're waiting, please tell us in the chat, what do you think science has to do with cooking? What did you see in those videos that actually related to cooking? Let's take a break here on the Gospelology podcast.
3, 2, 1. Thank you for the happiest year of my life. Thank you for the happiest year of my life.
Yo, this is Jesus, aka King of Kings, aka Lord of Lords, aka Prince of Peace. You get it.
Ooh, this is nice.
Thank you for the happiest.
Wow, that was exciting things right there. I want you guys to make sure that you join us on the Gospelology show on Roku and other Apple TV and everywhere else that you can reach the Now Network. That's the Now Network. Every Sunday at 9 a.m. is the Gospelology show, where Promac and Miss Latrice, myself, is giving Bible lessons and games and activities and science activities for your kids to do, as well as scientists in residence, where they learn about African-American scientists who have made such an amazing difference here in our country and all around the world. So please join us again at 9 a.m. on the Gospelology show on the Now Network every Sunday. And we also have just started and launched our Coding Academy. So we're so excited about the Gospelology Coding Academy taught by my very own nephew, the coding genius Walt, who celebrated a birthday yesterday. He actually won a contest in the state of North Carolina competing against middle and high schoolers. This 7-year-old tore the place up, came in first place. So he'll be teaching our coding academy along with some great other computer scientists that are in there. So please join us. Go to gospelologyclub.com, hit the top button if you're interested in joining our coding academy, and we'll be able to give you more information on that. We're excited to have Dedra Blount again with us today. Miss Chef right here, the Chef Fairy, or what do you call it, the Fairy Chef
Very
Mother.
mother.
Okay, I knew I was going to get it right. The Fairy Chef Mother, and she is here with us today. And I am so excited and so proud of everything that she is doing. Like I said, here in the community, here in the Hampton Roads area, but all over the world. Dedra has been teaching. I've seen her in California. She's been so many places. She's doing it up, y'all. She's doing it up. And we're so excited and blessed for her to be here. And we're watching how these kids are in the studio creating science and doing all kind of great activities. And so we're excited to talk to Dedra, but Dedra had a special guest. She had a special guest in her studio, and I want her to tell us the story, how Carla Hall came to the Hampton Roads area. If you guys know, Carla Hall is actually from the chef, actually one of the TV, here she is, The Chew, and I love that show. I actually really love, I mean, I love watching it and all of the different things that she cooks, and she's just an amazing chef. Dedra, you got to tell us the story. I want to know the story. There's a story behind this, so tell us how she wound up in that amazing kitchen. Look at y'all, just grinning from ear to ear.
Listen, it was amazing. I think I was smiling all night long in my sleep. And so the crazy thing is, okay, so we knew she was coming to Hampton Roads, but we were doing some things that we can't talk about, but you know, we'll be able to see some things real soon. So we knew she was coming. Okay, fine. But we had been together all day long, and one of our friends had brought her a gift, something that he had made. And so she was like, oh, I gotta make some biscuits. I gotta make some biscuits to go along with this. And so she looked at him, one of our friends said, Deb, can I make biscuits at your house? And Deb was like, I live in Richmond. You can't make biscuits at my house. And she was like, well, ask the twins. The twins have a cooking studio not too far away from here. Wow. And I'm just sitting there like, is this really happening? So she was like, okay, for real? Y'all got a cooking studio? I said, yes, down the street. She looked at Deborah. She said, okay, type this list in your phone. These are the things I need from the grocery store. I need this kind of cheese. I need this kind of butter. I need this kind of flour, blah. So Deborah's like, okay. So Deborah leaves. I'm there like a couple more hours, and then I leave. I'm still not thinking that, okay, Carla said she was coming to the studio to make biscuits. Okay, all right, whatever. Get this phone call. Carla's on her way. I'm like, okay, God. I still didn't believe it. She parks the car. Well, whoever was driving parks the car. She gets out the car. And I was like, oh, my God. So she comes in, and we made biscuits. It was like 8 of us. I called our photographer. I was like, hey, I need you to get to the studio as fast as you can. You have to capture this moment. Wow. So the photographer got there, and we're waiting, and she shows up. And I guess for the next 2 or 3 hours, we made biscuits. We laughed, and she sang Al Green, and she danced. And it was an amazing, like the person that she is on TV is the person she is in person, which makes it, you know, the best, because she was just amazing, and she was just so sweet and so down to earth, and it was great. It was great. And it's like, it wasn't until the next morning when I came into the studio that Saturday morning that I realized what really happened, and I just started crying and crying and crying, and I was like, what really just happened to us? It was unreal.
Oh my goodness, Dedra, that is such an amazing story. That's just, I'm gonna go back to earlier when you said don't get into this teaching or the cooking thing, you know, the teaching thing for money.
Right.
Because it has to be from your heart. And because you were obedient and did things from your heart, I'm just watching God open up so many amazing doors for you and your business and your sister, where he's bringing the people to you.
That's
and I am just so oh my gosh, this is just, that was so, it was so powerful because you just happened to be in the right place at the
Right.
right time, because that's how God just placed you there.
Right.
And I'm just saying, for the rest of the year, that's how it's going to be for you. You
I,
know, it's
I
just,
received that.
you're just always going to be in the right place at the right time. Your doors are always open. And for those of you who've never been down on Battlefield Boulevard to now you're cooking, when you walk into the door, you feel that. You feel the love. You feel like you're stepping into your own home kitchen. So I know that Carla walked in there, and that's why she started singing Al Green.
Right.
That's why she made them biscuits. And are those the biscuits that we are seeing coming across this screen here?
Yes.
Honey,
When I
them,
tell you they were, and I don't even eat biscuits because they're not my thing. When I tell you that biscuit was amazing, that biscuit was so good. And she gave me the book. She signed my book with the recipe in it and everything. It took me about 2 months before I even made the biscuit because it was just so amazing. It was such an experience. Like I told her, I felt like we were in biscuit church, you know, because it was a whole experience. And the crazy thing about it is, right around maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, we got a curveball thrown in the whole process where we got some last minute details kind of chucked at us at the end. And I had told Deborah, I said, Deborah, if you want to, we can just walk away from it. We don't have to do this. We can walk away from it. And, you know, so I kind of sat with it for the night, and I was like, God, you're going to have to tell me exactly what you want me to do. And I'm like, when I wake up in the morning, if I'm still uneasy about it, I know that it's you telling me not to do it. And when I woke up that morning, I was at peace. I said, all right, God, let's go. Let's go to work. And can you imagine if I had let my flesh lead, and I would have missed out on the opportunity he had on the other side of my fear? I mean, it was something. I mean, because we wrestled. It was like, because it was, you know, everything was going smooth. The next thing you know, something hit, and everything kind of stopped. And I was like, you know what? My flesh rose up and was like, no, we don't have to do it. You know, all these other things, we can just find opportunities somewhere else. And so I'm like, okay, get yourself together, calm yourself down.
Yes.
And let's look at it for what it really is. And at the end, ultimately, what was really going to hold me back from that, us back from that, was fear. All it was fear.
And you know, I always share with my clients, and Dedra, you know, I'm one of them fear coaches.
Right.
And I always say that you have to do what you're afraid of, because the thing is that we can do anything easy. Anything that's easy, you can do, but it doesn't grow you, because it's something that you're able to do. But when you do things that you're afraid of, you learn so much in that process because you're afraid to do it. So you're going to do things that you've never done before to make sure that you get it done, or you protect yourself.
Right.
So I'm telling the audience out there, Dedra just told you, you know, what was her blessing was on the other side of her fear. And so you're not going to be able to get it unless you go through the fear. But see, he's never left you, or he'll never forsake you. And he even tells you that, yea, though I walk through the valley and the shadow of death, I fear no evil. So God's not telling you that you're not going to go through it. He's just telling you that he's going to be there with you as you walk through it. So Dedra walked through it, and look what happened. On the other side of her fear, there's biscuits, y'all.
There's biscuits.
I love it. I love it. One of the things that I do love too, Dedra, is that we got a chance to see in that picture in the kitchen an amazing African-American woman chef, and also with you, an amazing African woman chef. And as we look at statistics, we see that there's not many of you. There's not many of you. And the thing is that in that field also, there's a lot of discrimination amongst you as women in the chef field, just women, let alone African-American, but just women in general. And so how do you feel? This is talking point number 5. How do you feel as a Black woman in STEM? Do you feel the loneliness of being a Black chef or a Black professional, you know, marked by the extraordinary racial imbalance and the underrepresentation in your field? Do you feel any loneliness, or how do you feel? I know having Carla in there with you was probably like, yes.
Oh yeah, that was,
you know,
a game. That was totally a game changer.
Yeah.
It was totally a game changer, just because it made me feel like, you know, this could be me on the one day, you know, where people are excited for me to come to their facility and to their place and just to be myself. It doesn't bother me anymore because, you know, my career choice as a chef and as a culinary instructor, I was the only Black instructor or female instructor at the culinary school at Johnson Wales University. So that was what I did. And I did that for 11 years. So, you know, and that's where I started. I was 21 years old when I started teaching at Johnson Wales University. Wow. So not only was I a woman, I was a Black woman, I was young, and I was educated. You know, so I had the bullets in the gun, and not everybody was happy to see me. You know, so that was a hard lesson to learn. And so I came up against a lot of kickback in the early stages of me teaching because some people felt like I wasn't qualified enough. That was some of my peers. And then in the classroom, some of the students felt that I wasn't qualified because they were from the military and they were older than I was. You know, but to me, it doesn't really matter. God prepared me with everything that I needed to be ready to go and deliver what I needed to deliver when I needed to deliver it. So I've always been in a situation where I've kind of been like the odd man out or odd woman out because of that. So when I teach, I try to include everyone and make them feel comfortable because they will go through experiences where it's just them. You know, and I try to empower women, especially African-American chefs, to let them know we can do this. You know, the majority of the things that the chefs have learned came from a Black woman anyway. She was at the house, but we decided to take this and make this our career. So, you know, there are certain things that we can and cannot do, but we got to walk forward and be strong and be, you know, effective and powerful in our stance as female chefs. So it's not an easy road, but if this is the road that you choose, you've got to make sure you got the bullets in the gun to be ready for it. So like for me, something that I embraced, even when I was in college, in culinary school, we had to wear uniforms every day. We had to do a lineup, kind of like military lineup where they inspected our uniforms. Well, my mother and father made sure my uniform always looked amazing. And my mom, she ironed my aprons. I had creases in my uniform. My dad shined my shoes. If I was nothing else, I was sharp. But I would drive with my jacket on a hanger in the back because I didn't want to crease my jacket before I got to school. And even at 19 years old, it was kind of like I was subconsciously setting the tone for my mindset as a chef. So even to this very day, when we go and we do events or we have activities and things, I don't drive in my uniform. I have my uniform on a hanger. And then when I get to the venue, I take it all in. I see what I got to do, get everything in place. And then when they say, okay, all right, it's time, you know, we're getting close. Then I go put my jacket on. That's when it all changes. Okay. And then when I take my jacket off, I can be me. But once I put that jacket on, it's a totally different persona because that means it's time to do business. So I play around in it. I take what I do very seriously. And I want people around me to take it very seriously and to understand that the passion that I have for cooking, at first I thought it was the fact that I love to cook and this, that, and the other. And then I realized what it really was all about for me was being able to teach people how to feed themselves. That's for me is what it's all about. I can cook you something to eat and you'll eat it today. But if I teach you how to cook, you'll make that dish until your family gets tired. And then somebody else is going to learn it and they're going to do it again. And they're going to do it again. And then they're going to reinvent it and make memories out of those things. For me, that's what it's all about. It's all about. So, you know, if I have to go ahead of the game for the sake of those coming behind me, I'll do it. I'll do that. You know, God's prepared me for that. So, you know, I'm ready for it. I'm built for it.
Dedra's about to take me to church. She is just going to church in here tonight, y'all. All I can say, Dedra, is that you are your ancestors' dream. You know, I know your grandmother is just like, you better do it, girl. You know, and the thing is that, like you said something, we've always been cooking. The things that we have done is nothing new. You know, but to put that name chef on it, it's just amazing. You have won awards. You've taught at one of the best culinary schools around, and you did it as an African American woman. You are setting the pace. And just like you said, your uniform, I'm telling you, see my jacket, that's why I feel, that's how I feel about the
That's
Kodak
right.
jacket. Okay, when this jacket comes on, it's serious
Right.
business, y'all.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
and when you set that tone, you're also setting the tone for those who are looking at you and who are following you. Now, Dedra, did you have a mentor at all during this entire time? Or how important do you think it would have been if you didn't? But did you have someone, okay, someone that you could look up to?
I've had lots of people along the way that have been there for me. Many people that have been there for me. I would say the hardest part for mentorship was finding someone in business to mentor myself and Deborah, because of the fact that we're doing something that was a kind of ahead of the game. So it was easy for us to mentor people, but it was hard for us to find a mentor. But we do have a mentor who is like our fairy godmother. Her name is Yvonne Rivers, and there aren't too many people that can check me, but Yvonne Rivers can check me.
Mm.
I mean, in line.
Well, thank God for Yvonne, and I want
Yes,
to
indeed.
shout out to her to keep checking them because they are on their way. They have reached their max. I believe that Dedra and Now You're Cooking have reached its maximum potential here in Hampton Roads, but they are about to go world. This is just amazing. They're going global, y'all, and I see it. I see so many things in their future. Dedra, I am so excited that we had you on the show tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Please, you guys, connect with Now You're Cooking. My final question to Dedra, which I don't have to ask her, but I wanted to ask her about her relationship with God and how has it guided her in her career in STEM. But you all heard it. You heard Dedra preach to us tonight about how God has been with her through this, how he's opened up amazing doors for her, amazing opportunities for her to be in. And he's actually been there with her even through her rough times, and even opening up doors and letting her go through the things that she had to go through to overcome fear, because she knew her blessing was on the other side of fear. Dedra, you preached tonight. And so if you hear this in a sermon, okay, do not say Latrice got that from me on the Gospelology podcast, okay? But Dedra, again, thank you. Please, before we leave, could you share with our audience all of your social media handles, where we can get in touch with you? What is the name of that website so these parents can go in there and sign up so they can reach the 10 before you reach 10? Please share
That's
with us.
right. On social media, we are Now You Are Cooking. That's nowyouarecooking.com. On Instagram, Now You Are Cooking, Now You Are Cooking Kid, as well as on Facebook, we are Now You're Cooking Culinary Studio. So our schedule is up. The new site came out this morning, and we have classes listed all the way till the end of March. So if you see them, grab them. If you have any questions, send us an email. We would love to see you guys soon.
Great, great. Again, Dedra, thank you so much for joining me here on the Gospelology podcast. I truly enjoyed our time together tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you for joining us here on the Gospelology podcast. This is Latrice Williams McKnight signing off to remind you that we stem from him and that the Gospelology podcast is here to bridge the miraculous powers of Jesus Christ with the marvelous world of science. And if Dedra Blount didn't do that tonight, I don't know what to say. So thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again here on the Gospelology podcast. Let's go right out with the Gospelology theme song. Gospelology, Gospelology. I'll see you next week.